What do you tell a man with two black eyes? Right, you tell him, I'm sorry you're hurt. Is there something I can do to help you? Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Xerath Prevails. We're going to talk about Datacron Set 8 today, folks, and how to farm the best crons, like which ones you should target, because Conquest is here, and we need to be farming Datacrons alongside it to help our guilds, to help ourselves in GAC, and to drive ourselves a little bit crazy, because the grind in Conquest is a little bit obnoxious, and we don't like it at all. Now, Set 8 is ushering in a lot of changes. Set 6 is going to be, there's a lot of changes. We'll talk about these changes here, guys. I'm not entirely enthused. My main account and my alternate account both really enjoyed Set 6, and I can't imagine 8 is going to be quite as good for either account, but we got to adapt and do well, and it's going to change the meta by quite a bit, which, that's kind of the goal. So let's go and talk about these things here, folks. First off, let's say thanks to my patrons. You guys are amazing. I can't believe how, I don't know. I really appreciate you guys. I can't believe how helpful you've been. It has been amazing, and I truly appreciate everything, you guys, from all of you, except for maybe one of you. You never know. If you want to support the channel for free, all you've got to do, guys, is help me mount the frickin' algorithm. Like, subscribe, comment. Set 8 is part of the algorithm, guys. Mount Set 8 if you like, if you dare. It's going to be crazy. Now, I do have an infographic here that's available for free. All you've got to do is go join my Discord server, and it's got, it's in the channel that's called Infographics toward the bottom. I think I have it in the new player section for whatever reason toward the bottom, like I said. And keep in mind, guys, so this is set version 1.0. You can see on the top right there, and I might be updating this infographic over time. And then, of course, it'll say version 1.1 or 7.3, or I won't ever get to that high. But one other thing to note, well, we'll look at it in a closer view here in just a minute. Before we do that, though, before we look at it closer, I do want to point out just a couple changes, like generalized changes that are taking place. So out with Set 6, in with Set 8, and this new set only has, it doesn't have any defense. It has like crit avoid, but if crit avoid isn't appealing to you, which it's not really to me on Datacrons, then keep in mind, if you want someone to have a lot of extra armor or resistance for whatever reason, you have to use the previous set for that. You don't have that at all in Set 8. There's also no easy turn meter gain this set, such as in the dark side characters giving 20% turn meter to people. Like that's just not a thing in this set. So we're gonna be resetting back to kind of the standard turn meter situation. Afra is not the crazy Galactic Legend killer that she was before. She may end up like being able to counter Jabba or something if in certain circumstances. I'm not really sure exactly what it's gonna look like, but she's not going to be nearly the whirlwind of death that she used to be. That's a thing in the past, and that's just it's unfortunate in some ways. Well, stay tuned on this channel. We'll be exploring Afra's viability on all kinds of levels. Remember to hit that thumbs up button or subscribe, especially subscribe if you want to get all of those updates. Now, the big distinction here too, guys, is health is only found, like percentage health is only found in Set 7. So there's a few different Galactic Legends and other teams that really want health, like Sith Eternal, Malgus, Treya, maybe like even Wampa. The Wampa has a really fun toy in Set 8 that he might really like as well. So you have to make a value judgment there. And then protection is only in set 8. You can't find it in both. So like Jedi Master Luke is going to be skipping from set 6 up to set 8 because he needs protection or he's not very good at all. General Skywalker really wants protection though. Remember, he also really likes armor and defense, and so it depends on like whatever you want, you're gonna have to make a value judgment on that. Lord Vader really likes protection as well, and he has a fun toy in set 8. So there's lots of things going on here, folks. So let's look at the infographic real quick, and something to keep in mind here, folks. Well, hold on, let me change where my face is. Actually, let's just turn off my face for a minute, shall we? That seems like a neat trick. Alright, so no face for a minute. Poor you. However, you can see that on the top left, you can see, April 2023. Right next to that, there's this little, like, golden asterisk. The asterisk, you guys can pronounce it for me. I don't want to say it, but it just denotes all of the Galactic Legends so that you can find them easier, because that's probably going to be the one thing that most people really want. Like, if you're not going to engage in Datacrons, I'm not going to judge you for it. I'm not going to tell you you have to do it. However, if you are going to do it, a lot of times if people want minimum engagement, they're going to just be looking for how to boost their Galactic Legends. Now, I don't have Jedi Master Luke here. He really wants protection, and that's basically it. Like, just tons of protection. If he could get a Datacron that rolled 6 rolls on protection, that would be ideal for him. And I mean, some crit avoid on him wouldn't be too bad either. Now, the other thing is the must-have box isn't really like, okay, hurry up, you have to farm the Seer team or whatever. Like, I don't have Seer myself, but these are the ones that are directly addressed by set 8. And I guess I put Inquisitors there too, because they really want this set really bad. And so, you can see like the Emperor Palpatine with Mara Jade team, and, Trench, there's the Tuskens, etc. Now, there's a huge list of teams that prefer set 7, so whether or not you have enough Datacrons to support that or not is another question. I don't know that I do, for that matter. But keep in mind, guys, even though we have Separatists here, even though we have Separatists on the, like, in this Datacron set, Grievous still wants set 7 because he loves the target lock synergy. Like, he needs that more than he needs anything the Separatists have to offer. In fact, the Separatists just kind of cut him out of anything cool. Like, everything that the Separatists get, they're like, you know what, Grievous, you're like a second-hand Separatist. Like, you're not a second class. You're not cool enough to be a Separatist. And he's like, but I talk weird and breathe weird. Isn't that enough? And they're like, no. So the other thing is unaligned Force users, Crons, can't be dark side. For whatever reason, CG has decided that they can only be light side, which means you can't have like a Maul team with dark side that also boosts Lord Vader. That's just not how it's gonna work. So, you can have a light side Datacron that goes on to Lord Vader, but then he doesn't get the cool level 3 because it'll be a light side level 3, not a dark side. So you can't have your cake and eat it too, which I think is extremely unfair. It's outrageous. And let's go to the game and talk about more about this, shall we? It's going to be so crazy. Go get this infographic, guys. It's hopefully it'll be amazing. Maybe it won't be. We'll see. Let's go to the gameplay though. The game is whoa, we're in the game. Madness. So that's the purple set, the Wandering Wisdom. Remember, guys, you can scrap your Datacrons right now if you can, like dismantle them, because or if you have a lot of them, because look at this. So if I dismantle this one, I currently have 26 million. So if you can spend a bunch of your data cache early on, that's going to be really helpful to you, because you're going to, once this all dismantles, like, what if we dismantle all of it? I mean, just these 4 is going to get me 16 million that just goes completely to waste. The cap is 30 million, and so it's all going to go to waste. So if you can find a way, I mean, I'll still get like the purple mats and stuff, but I won't get any of the data cache, which the data cache is the really annoying thing anyways, right? So I would highly recommend that. the yeah, if you have that problem, like I've already dismantled a ton of my set 6 because I have a lot of Datacrons, of course. That's how it is in the top 50 or whatever in GAC. And so that being said, the Wandering Wisdom, if you can start spending data cash on these early, that's going to be good. Now let's go through the alignments real quick, and I'll just point out a few of the highlights here, guys. So light side mechanics, honestly, the only one that I really like here is the fact that you can do the 5% offense stacking. So if you start, if you start your turn with at least 2 buffs that can be dispelled, you can gain 5% offense. That's nice because a lot of light side teams will have a lot of buffs for that, for your team. And so that the stacking offense is actually that's really good. Ray is always trying to gain extra offense and stuff. Like if you're using her on this set, you're gonna really enjoy that, especially because there's a faction level 6 that also just gives you at the end of your turn 2 buffs anyway, so that you have it built in that every time she takes a turn, she's going to gain 5% offense, which really starts to add up on a Ray team. Now dark side, they actually like this too. Troopers really get a lot out of this, and this is really the only one that troopers can use. They're gonna be I think if we do the turn meter shenanigans with them with Watt, and I don't know if we're gonna use Watt or not, guys. He's gonna be out with Trench, so who knows? But troopers can take down Lord Vader potentially if you do all the turn meter shenanigans with the buff with Watt and doing the basic. And I'm probably not being that explicit, but the thing to keep in mind, folks, is that troopers can still be crazy fast if you get your Iden faster than your Piet, and you get her not just faster, but she has to be in the 320s range or something, so she can gain 20% turn meter from Watt and be able to outspace. Lord Vader will still go first, but then she can cleanse, and then the rest of your team can pummel Lord Vader potentially. I'll probably be doing that on my alternate account is what I'll probably be doing. My main may or may not be. I haven't decided yet, but this one's going to be really strong for your troopers in that regard, because that offense stacking can really be a nice boost for your Dark Trooper. Otherwise, the rest of it, the one other one that I really like, and the rest are pretty inconsequential in my opinion, the damage over time is really nice. You're going to want that for your Tuskens, of course, but you also want it for Lord Vader, because he gains all that protection up based on his max health, which now he has his health because it all transitions into health. So he's going to get all these crazy stacks, and you get it until the end of the encounter. That doesn't expire naturally. Now remember, if you do that, they had this a couple sets ago, and when people put him on defense, people just used Boba to one-shot him. People would there are ways to get around it, so it's kind of weak on defense, but it's really strong on offense. And Wampa really likes this one as well. That's the fun toy I was referencing before. Let's see, so faction, let's see, so unaligned force user, remember you can only have light side turn into this little unaligned force user. So if you get a light side one, guys, it's going to eventually turn into unaligned, because otherwise it's going to, the dark side splits between Tuskens and Separatists. Now the top one, I think I just referenced it as the longest one or the wordiest one. This one is pretty good for a lot of them. This is the one I would put on Mara Jade, for instance. I wouldn't necessarily put it on Rey, because Rey likes this stuff a little bit, but what she really wants probably is the one where she gets offense, defense penetration, and offense up. The offense up is super nice for her when she does her ult, when she does all that stuff, but she also, this goes really nicely because at the end of their turn, unaligned force users, so that's just going to be her and Ben basically on her team, they gain defense penetration up and offense up for one turn, which turns into, remember light side, if they start the turn with at least 2 buffs that can be dispelled, they gain 5% offense. And I mean, Rey, if she just takes 3 or 4 turns, getting 20% offense on Rey is just pretty insane, folks. Otherwise, the rest of these are really, they're okay. We've seen basically all of them before on some level or another. I don't really love any of them too crazy much. A lot of times you're going to be a little damaged or whatever, so the 100% more damage on their turn, it's all right, well, I mean, you could do that. you can do that. For the most part, I tend to think, like, instead of the 100% more damage, I tend to think that the offense up and defense pen up is going to be a little more useful overall. And remember, this is like dark side characters, so if you have a light side cron, it will still apply to dark side if they have, or it'll still apply, the level 6 will still apply to the dark side character if that character is, like, you can't use the light side aspect of it, but you can still use the level 6 aspect and level 9 if it's a specific dark side character. So when it comes to Tuskens, I think that the only real one that matters at all for Tuskens, because it's only one faction. I mean, I guess you could have 2 different Tusken factions in 3v3 if you really wanted to. I still think this is probably the only one you want. The one that has the wordiest stuff, the ones with damage over time, and that, I mean, that's, in my opinion, that's all you need. Like, this is crazy strong, actually. Tuskens are going to be so obnoxious to deal with, guys. If you read the stuff that it affects, it's going to be crazy. And then Separatists, I think that the best one is probably going to be this Days one. Now, to be clear, guys, the top ones on all 3 are going to probably, the way they've done it in the past, they've typically made these more difficult to roll. You know, like, they're all weighted, and this one is probably going to be rarer than any of the other ones. So if you can roll one of these, I would suggest just, like, not roll, like, don't roll over it. You're like, oh, that's not what I wanted for this one character. I would just say, just bite the bullet and keep this, because you're really going to want it later. This is the one that Trench wants. This is the one that probably Poggle wants, is my guess, unless he really wants the defense pen and offense up one instead. That one's also pretty decent. Now, in terms of characters, there's not a ton that you really need to worry about, guys. There's a lot that exist, but otherwise, like the Trench one, you want that one. One of the very best ones. Tusken Raider, probably not, unless you're playing the 3v3 Omicron, which is, as far as I know, it's still bugged, so I don't know if that's even going to be a viable option, to be honest, but this one looks okay for that specific situation, but otherwise I would ignore that. Visas is like, well, she's probably gonna just be on a Starkiller team, and this isn't that great anyways. I wouldn't go out of your way. The Tusken Chieftain, I'm torn between this one and the Tusken Warrior. Frankly, I think the Tusken Warrior is gonna end up being stronger, but Tusken Chieftain is also gonna be okay. For those of few of you who are going to have Tuskens, at least early on, just keep in mind they're gonna be farmable pretty soon. I think the Chieftain already is, so like, try to rush these, or potentially rush these farms, because the Tusken team is going to be just so obnoxiously strong for 4 months, guys. Really good. Django got the Red Trooper treatment. It's not good, guys. It's just awful. The Ben Solo one, it's like, well, you may as well have one. Like, if you're going to be using the light side, like, this isn't a reason, his cron isn't a reason to get to use set 6, just use set 8. Honestly, like, set 7 for Rey is just fine. Set 7 is amazing for Rey. I do think that set 8 might end up being a little bit better, but Ben Solo's specifically is not the reason to do that, guys. It's fine, it's good, it's like, yeah, sure, that's fine, but the best part of it, guys, is the level 6, the one with the words. That's the one you want. Dooku is just gonna be with what's his name, with Trench, most likely. I mean, 3v3, who knows what the viability is. Newt isn't that good. Warrior, we've already talked about. Just skip. Cal. So I don't know much about the Seer squad. I did fight it and lose to it a while ago with my Mandos, though I think that if I fought it again with the same team and the same circumstances, I'd have won it. It was just a loss based off of ignorance for me. But that being said, he goes with Seer so crazy well, and this is a really good cron for that team, guys. So highly recommend that you get this one if you're going to have Cal and Seer anytime in the next 4 months, which a lot of people like probably will. Like, Seer should become farmable very, very soon. Alright, so we've got Poggle. If you want to run Geos, that's fine. I don't know if I'll have a Relic 7 Geo. Remember, though, you'll have added synergy, because if you get all of your Geos up to Relic 7, which I'm not advising that or whatever, but if you do, if you get to Phase 2 of the new territory battle, Poggle wants that. And, like, Poggle, like, your Geos, need Relic 7, so Poggle is, you know, kind of primed for that anyways. This one, the Mara Jade one, I would say is the priority, folks. It is very, very strong. The Shock, taking extra damage on max health and doing all this, like, it is crazy good, guys. And I know that everyone probably only just has her at Relic 5, but, I mean, Relic 7 isn't bad. Like, it adds survivability to her, it adds a little damage, she takes a lot of turns, she does a lot of hits. It's not, like, she's a character that I use so often. I'm actually appalled that I haven't upgraded her past Relic 5. I just haven't needed to yet. The Shaman, just skip. Fulcrum, I don't know. This is probably really good for territory battles, is my guess. But if she's going with Cal, my guess is that you'll probably still want to go with Cal, because remember, she has an Omicron, and so does Cal, that lets her join the Cal squad in territory battles. And if you want to do that, I guess that's good. Otherwise, my guess is that you're just not going to get much use out of this in Territory Wars, the GAC. So I don't really know. In terms of stats, guys, crit avoid, I typically just don't care about it. Crit chance is especially like reroll that if you can. It's just chaff. Accuracy, unless they put dodge in the next set. That just gave me a pretty big scare, actually. I thought when I saw accuracy, I was like, oh no, there's gonna be dodge. But there isn't dodge on this set, so that's great. But if there's dodge on the next set and there's no accuracy on it, then we're gonna have to go back and farm some of this accuracy stuff. Health steal, it is pretty annoying, like on Galactic Legends especially. It's nothing too crazy. I know that people put a lot of stock in it. I just don't really care. The protection is the thing that I care about. Protection and crit damage. Those are the two stand-out stats that I think are going to be really strong. You can get some crazy high crit damage. Like you can get up to what, 170, 100 to 220% crit damage, which is just crazy. I mean, that's the max. You're not going to see that, but we'll see some numbers kind of close to that at the top accounts for sure. People who just reroll until they get really high crit damage numbers, that does happen. So anyways, folks, that seems pretty good. It's going to be Trench and unaligned force users team like that. The Seer team I expect to just really take off, and then Tuskens are going to be obnoxious as hell once we finally learn how to beat them, and then this set disappears. We're going to be like, wow, they're way weaker than I thought they were. So anyways, folks, this is it for this set. Gosh, these videos take so long to make, but I hope that this gave you a few insights on how to farm this, you know, what the priorities are. Just the Mara Jade is the biggest one, guys. Mara Jade, and if you have Trench, those are the two. And then, like, keep in mind the Tusken Raider team and the Seer team with Cal Kestis, because that's going to be good. And then also, you know, like your Galactic Legends. Remember, like Supreme Leader Kylo is an Ufu and everything too. So he really wants some of these stats. It's going to be a really interesting season or two, I think, guys. Anyways, what are your thoughts? Did I miss anything? I'm sure there's something I missed. Thank you all so much for watching, and remember that in all things, Zareth prevails. Take care, guys.